Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good morrow. How are you, Dianne? Welcome to episode 44 of Rock the
Hi.
Cash Bar. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
It's
Thanksgiving.
Monday of Thanksgiving week.
Yes. Monday morning.
Monday morning. Happy second cup of coffee. You're going to need it. This is the first time we've met to do one of these early in the morning. I
Yeah.
apologize. I'm probably a little different first thing in the morning than I am in the afternoon. I don't know if that's going to make me more prickly, less prickly, or just dumber, but we'll see what happens. We're 8 months into the weirdest situation I think I have ever been in, presumably you, and presumably the rest of the barflies as well. I went into quarantine on March 15th, just before St. Patrick's Day, and thinking it was going to be 2 weeks, maybe a month or something like that. It's been 8 months. It's worse now than it was when we started.
Uh-huh.
I'm going back to work now. Like, we're just, like, it's over. We're done.
You're going back to work full time.
Done trying. I'm celebrating my 4th negative COVID test. I don't know what I have to do to catch this thing, but apparently I can't get it. I went and bought health insurance at the beginning of the pandemic because I thought, well, if we're all going to die of an upper respiratory disease, I am a long-time heavy smoker, I might as well buy some health insurance. So the first time I went and got a rapid COVID test, I paid $150, flat rate cash, didn't have any insurance. A couple of days ago, I went back with an insurance card and they said, because you don't have symptoms, we don't know if your insurance is going to pay for this.
Right.
So you're going to have to pay for it yourself. So I went, okay, well, this buying insurance stuff is shit anyway. So I was like, okay, well, how much is it going to be? They're like, well, it's going to be the original 150 for us, and then 200 and whatever for the testing lab, and then something else, like down the line. So just like, so all told, it's going to be like somewhere around $500. And it's like, yeah. I'm like,
No.
but I just bought insurance. They're like, yeah, that's just funny how these things work. I was like, okay, well, I'll just go somewhere else then.
Yeah, go somewhere else.
Yeah, I have no idea how medicine works in the United States or just in general. Like, I don't know how I went from, because I bought insurance, it got more expensive and I couldn't access it.
You have to fake symptoms next time. Just be like, yeah, I can't breathe.
I didn't even realize I was doing it because I had 3 other tests at that same place, and I didn't realize that I was kind of faking it, because the first time I went in there, I was just like, yeah, I got exposed to somebody at work. They're like, boom, here's a test. And then the second time, I honestly thought I had it. I had some symptoms and I'd been in a hospital.
Right.
So they just immediately gave it to me. And then this time I just went back in like, no, I'm fine. I need a test for work. And they're just like, back of the line. That makes a whole lot of sense. But
okay, listeners, don't do that. Fake your symptoms every time.
Lie every time. You have a fever. You're short of breath.
Yeah.
You're wheezing.
I can't taste anything. They can't prove that you can't taste anything.
I have exceptionally poor taste.
Yeah.
And my tongue's gone numb. I'm excited about this episode in a way that I don't think I've been excited about an episode in a while, for several reasons, all of them related to our special guest. We have a guest who's an honest guest, in the sense that I've never met him. I don't know him. He's very, very funny. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. He's Irish comedian Brian Gallagher. If you go to the Try channel on YouTube, there is, as I understand it, it's comedians trying different exotic foods. He also lit up the Edinburgh Comedy Festival with his show Asshole New World. Brian Gallagher, really excited to have you on. How are you, Brian?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great. I love your background.
I was in that. That's actually my the background is the graveyard or cemetery where I'm from in Limerick in the south of Ireland. So I think that could be my. Where is it? Just there? Yeah, that's my granny. My granny's just there.
Oh, hey, Granny.
Yeah.
I'm glad she can join us.
She can't hear you. She's dead. Yeah. I put that background up for the first lockdown we had here, because I live in Dublin. My parents are like, they're in their 70s. They live in Limerick. It's like 3 hours away. So we couldn't travel. So we're doing Zoom family calls, which are, really tedious and terrible. So I put this up and I waited for my mother to recognize it. And she went, is that what is that? Are you? And I'm like, oh, sorry. I was just in case anything happened to you. I was just getting ready in case I had to do a virtual thing. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Do your parents have the same sense of humor?
Yeah, luckily I got it from them. Yeah. So dark humor bounces around our house, which is fantastic. So yeah, she appreciated the joke, I think. But I keep forgetting to take it down until I'm on calls and I have to explain why there's a graveyard behind me.
Well, it's so beautiful. I went to Ireland last year for Christmas, and everything in Ireland, where I was in Galway, everything looks like that. So
yeah, it's lots of green and lots of stone.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much Ireland in a nutshell, really. Green and stone. I
couldn't believe, I thought the idea of sheep being everywhere was just kind of like my Americanized vision of Ireland. And then the first hour I was there, a herd of sheep walked into our backyard. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Did someone
But that in itself is rare. I mean, just for people, we don't have sheep in our cities. It's fair to point that out. Yeah.
If we deal with the same thing here in Texas, they think everybody's riding a horse. And I was like, I freak out when I see a horse. There's no everywhere in the street.
10-gallon hats and horses. Yeah. And oil men and things like that. Yeah. And Republicans.
We do have a lot of that. Yeah, that's pretty much, if you've seen the map of the last election, I mean, pretty much anywhere there's not big cities and colleges, there's Republicans.
Yeah, which is, we were obviously following it here very, very closely, and it was, wow, so entertaining. I went to bed calling it for Trump, and I woke up going, okay, I guess it's Biden then, which obviously means widespread voter fraud.
Obviously.
I'm joking.
Obviously.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to see that. But Texas is somewhere I've always wanted to go, so hopefully I'll make it there next year.
Yeah, you were going to try to come this year, but then COVID ruined that.
Yeah,
so
the world fell apart.
Yeah, we want to try to help build an audience for you when you do come. So
because the minute you ask me what my favorite song is, I'm going to say I think my favorite song is "If There Are Any Bookers Listening." In America, please get in touch. So it's a wonderful song.
Whatever their favorite songs are, that's mine too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So tell us why you chose Blur.
Well, I chose Blur. I love Blur. And I remember the Blur versus Oasis war that was going on back at the time when they were kind of competing against each other, which was hugely beneficial for both bands. Right, so all this aggro they were allegedly having was hugely beneficial for both of them in the charts and stuff. And my inbuilt personality trait is to always go against the grain. So everybody I knew was like, Oasis. And I was like, nah, it's Blur for me, 100%. And I may not have even listened to much of Blur at the time, but it's just my instinct was like, yeah, and I'm going to go this way. But I think time has proved me right. While Oasis kind of won the war at the time, I just think Blur musically had a greater impression on me and probably a lot of people of that era and generation. I just think they were just wonderful, to be honest. Damon Albarn's a genius anyway, so I think they were wonderful. I think all their music was wonderful.
Well, I think they're also maybe better people. I mean, I can't speak for all the Gallaghers, but
they are entertaining. I used to tell girls in nightclubs when I was 17 that I was related to them because their mother is from County Mayo and they used to come home every summer. So I knew that little bit of information about them. So I used to tell girls in nightclubs, yeah, I'm related to it. It's summertime in Mayo. No major deal.
They may swing by the house. They may not.
No big deal. You should come over sometime. That kind of thing.
So you pronounce it Gallagher in Ireland.
Gallagher, right? Yeah, exactly. So here in Ireland, we pronounce it Gallagher. In the UK and in the US, you say Gallagher.
Gallagher.
I think that's more to do with the way you both speak English in terms of how the alphabet is pronounced.
Yeah.
For you guys, that you end up with silent G's all over the place, and you pronounce the letter A or A. We say A, you say
right.
A. Yeah, so kind of things like that. I was working in a hotel once in Galway, actually, years ago, in a bar, and there was some American tourists in, and I was wearing a name badge with my name on it, and one of the women in the group was looking at my name badge, and she said, Gallagher. And I said, no, actually, the G is silent. And she said, Gallagher. I was like, yeah, sure. So everybody at work called me Mr. Gallagher for like 2 months afterwards. That was fun.
That's really good.
I don't mind which way it's pronounced, to be honest with you. I mean, people obviously pronounce it in relation to wherever they're from, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, Gallagher for me, though.
Well, what's funny is, I obviously married into this name, and
You're lucky.
I was embarrassed because at first Gallagher in America was just known for the watermelon smashing comedian, which nobody has respect for.
I wonder why.
And being a comedian, all my friends, probably been included, when I got married, they're like, you cannot go by Gallagher. You cannot do it. Well, obviously, also my last name previously was Funny. My last name was Cups, Cupps. And so my first initial is D, so everybody just called me D Cups.
D Cups. That's a great stage name.
I know.
For a whole breadth of industries.
Yeah. And I have the chest to go along with it, so we just made it. I was kind of happy to go to Gallagher after that, actually.
I can imagine, yeah. It's about 20 years being called D-Cups. Would make you marry anyone, really, wouldn't it?
I was over it.
Yeah. Although now I know I'm definitely adding a watermelon to my act for when I come to the US. So, yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is that generation is gone. Apparently, there's a show called Shameless that's very popular, and it's a fucked up family, and they're the Gallaghers.
Yeah. Gallaghers,
so that's what everybody knows this as now, which is fine.
That's a great show, incidentally. There's a US version, and then there's the UK version, is the original. But because you guys can't watch anything without subtitles, they had to remake it.
Yeah.
So they're never going to understand the Manchester accent. That's it. It's cheaper to refilm it than to try and dub it for these guys, So, but it's a great show. You should if you've never seen the UK version, it's really, really good. Yeah. Really
Eventually we'll get to the song, but I'll say one thing on that note too, is we are obsessed with Dairy Girls. And I was told even people in Ireland have to use the subtitles sometimes.
Some people maybe, yeah. No, Derry accent isn't that strong comparative to the Belfast accent, for example. Like I've been in the room with Belfast people who, if they hear me saying this, I know some Belfast comics will be like really offended, but with like it's quite a harsh accent, really hard to decipher if you're not familiar with it. But Derry is much softer. But a lot of shows from this part of the world get subtitled anyway. I always laugh if I'm watching TV and I'm like, why is the subtitles on? What is this about? Because I'm like, if I can understand Americans, they should be able to understand me. That's kind of the way I think.
Yeah, right. I can talk dialects forever. Let's get into Girls and Boys. So, Ben, I'll have you start. Let's just go through the lyrics first and have some fun with this.
Streets like a jungle, so call the police. Following the herd down to Greece on a holiday. Loving the 90s is paranoid. On sunny beaches, take your chances. Looking for girls who want boys, who like girls to be girls, who do boys like their girls, who do girls like their boys.
Oh, I should be someone
you really love.
So were all of us teenagers in the 90s? Because I was.
Yeah. I'm going to say I was 10 just because I lie about my age so often that it's the safest bet. Yeah, I was somewhere between a child and a teenager.
Okay.
But I still am in many ways. So
are we.
Yeah. It's yes, Blur for me, like at that stage of my life was first music I was getting into very, very first time, properly listening to music, properly enjoying something new. So that's why I have a real strong affection for them, I think.
Nice. What do you think about these lyrics, Ben? What do they make you feel?
It's super emblematic of something that I'm not really familiar with, like the English holiday, the idea of heading away to Spain or heading away to the south of France or something like that, getting away on vacation. It's just not something that we do or that we've done. Like the English are kind of like my mom is from the Lake District and my dad's from Londonderry, so I've got a little bit of a tie to it. But it's always been really strange to me. Like in America, we tend to think of English people as they're either Hugh Grant or they're James Bond. Really posh, really well-mannered things. And like no, the English are pirates. Like it's a pirate nation. There's a horde of really poorly mannered people standing behind James Bond and Hugh Grant. That's the trick. That's the trick that the English played. You know, like on the whole world, they send out like the fancy like Captain Cook in his, his fancy tunic to make the initial connection. And then behind that is just like, right, well, we're gonna be breaking noses the rest of the day, mate.
Oi!
Yeah.
Idiot, I'm gonna kill your family, mate. All your family all dead. You know what I mean? This kind of thing. Yeah, and then meanwhile, excuse me, chaps, could you please stop fighting?
Yes.
The world are watching, you know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
but, I can't. Go ahead, Brian.
No, sorry, like the British holiday, like I guess it's probably, and does like Irish people kind of do it as well, but not to the same level of mayhem maybe as you would kind of say with the British holiday to Spain and Greece and places like that. But it's probably the closest thing you would have is maybe spring break in terms of that volume of young people going to one place to go crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was going to wait till we got through the song, but I'll just say now, reading about his inspiration for this song, he was on holiday in Magaluf. Is that how you say it?
They call it Shagaloof over here.
Shagaloof. So
yeah, because
I got so excited when I read that because listen, I don't like watching reality TV. I don't watch dating shows, but one of my comedian friends was like, you have to watch the first season of Love Island. It's so fucking funny. You have to watch it. So I did it, and I was obsessed because like you were saying, Ben, we grew up in America thinking like everyone is so proper in the UK, and I think of Downton Abbey, and I was like, they have Jersey Shore trash just as bad as we do, and I could not get enough of it. I was like, I'm full on in. I have to watch their good-looking trash play out just like Americans.
I think they're the original trash, really. So they maybe inspired trash all around the world to do their thing. Well, like, yeah, as an Irish person going to some places on holiday, like we call them package holidays here. So like it's a couple of $100. You get your flight, your like little apartment, everything, your transfers is all looked after, and you end up like in a complex with a load of other people from the same area as you were, from the same part of the world kind of thing. And it's just party. So they're cheap and cheerful. So you get a lot of young, crazy people doing it. But if I was in Spain on one and it kind of just booked at the last minute, but it was like full of English people, and there were like the crazy kind of English people. There was like British flags hanging off all their balconies, and every night was just like, and I was like, oh gee.
Oh shit.
So I was like, oh hello, how are you doing? Yeah. Oh, I don't mind at all about Northern Ireland. You can keep it actually. Yeah. Do you want to take some more? I'll give you my house if you want it. It's fine. There were some all bald-headed, tattooed, crazy people. So it was so there's a huge element of that, and that's kind of what fuels that kind of Magaluf and like the hordes, the way he describes hordes going to Greece, you know, or the herd. That's kind of literally is like a herd of people, you know.
Yeah.
Mental.
It's so similar to here. Like a lot of, like, I'll just say it, MAGA hillbillies will flock to Florida on spring break, Daytona Beach. It's like, and the same thing, they'll drop the Confederate flag and the bald heads, and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to be nice, and we're not going to talk to each other.
There's just crazy people everywhere, you know what I mean? And they have to holiday too. They have to holiday too.
And sometimes, you know what? If you just drop the preconceived notions and just have a beer with a couple, you find your similarities. You can have a good time sometimes.
Yeah, and you can maybe can both recover together in A&E hospital together and have a nice talk about how much fun it was breaking each other's arms the night before, that kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. Everyone gets drunk, and there's a beauty in reconciliation, isn't there?
We're about to find out in America, I guess.
All right, let's get through these lyrics. What's the next fun part, Ben?
Avoiding all work because there's none available. Like battery thinkers, count your thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers.
5 fingers.
Mm-hmm. Nothing is wasted, only reproduced. You get nasty blisters. Du bist sehr schan, my German pronoun. That's the only German sentence I think I have ever said in my entire life.
You took to it very naturally, I must say.
It's in the blood somewhere.
Yeah.
Which means
Sehr, schan means you're very beautiful. Or
you're very pretty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that like the song was very Eurotrash kind of, and that just throwing that one line in German was just a really nice homage. I think, it's just, it didn't need to do that. And even reading it looks totally out of place, but it just adds a little something to the whole song,
I just love that it comes after you get nasty blisters. You're still pretty.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we won't see the blisters this time of night, so it's okay.
No,
your face is pretty.
You'll feel them tomorrow.
Yeah. Again, everybody back in A&E, back in the hospital waiting room. Everyone getting penicillin injections before you go back to the UK for your holiday. That's
it's not a vacation if it doesn't end in a penicillin shot.
Yeah. I was in Turkey on holidays once, and I was in a pharmacy I think I got sunburnt. I definitely got sunburnt. I'm Irish, and I was getting like after sun and stuff, and it was like 5 people behind me, and they were all ordering like the morning after pill, and like I was like, wow, that was quite the night. Like 5 of you living together are all getting the morning after pill.
My God.
I was like, it was a real party kind of town that I was in. So like, I'd say that pharmacy just sold after sun lotion and the morning after pill, and that was it. They didn't even sell condoms because their markup was higher on the morning after pill. I think.
Oh my God.
It's probably a marketing strategy. You sell condoms. We're all out, but come back tomorrow. I have a feeling you'll need something.
We'll take care of you still. Don't worry about it.
There's a good reference in the song there to work as well, which is kind of about like the fact that there was like no real jobs in the UK for young people at the time. So it's like it's kind of I think the song is kind of making fun of the fact that this is the image everybody has of us, like we're all just partying and heading off and we don't want to work, but the fact is there is no work. So it was like, this is our life and this is how we kind of have a release valve for our generation. I think it's kind of part of it as well.
So how do they pay for this holiday if they don't have jobs? It's very
literally. Well, like I guess social welfare and like saving some money, maybe doing some odd jobs for cash or doing a few jobs here and there, and then not everybody obviously would have been unemployed, but like a lot of that generation would have found it hard to get work. That kind of just between school and college and like the real world, a lot of people maybe found it hard to get jobs at the time. So that's kind of where that reference comes from, But
Dianne, young men will find the money for beer and pussy. We will find it. It doesn't matter. It's there.
I remember when I was in college, I was completely broke and I could make $20 stretch a whole week. Like I smoked and drank. I don't know how. Being a girl helped at the bar. I didn't have to pay for a lot of drinks there. But I just remember thinking, like, I can stretch 20 all week. I can't stretch 20 for 2 hours anymore.
That's incredible. 20 for a week is pretty impressive, gotta tell you. I used to have this mantra, because I'm one of those annoying people who gets something in their head and just keeps repeating it to annoy other people. My mantra for a while was like, all you need in life is $20 in your back pocket and you can do anything. You just need the will to do it and you'll do it, right? This pure bullshit, like complete bullshit, right? Because I was in New Zealand backpacking when I was like 21 and I ended up alone in the middle of nowhere with $20 in my pocket. And I was like, well, that mantra is a load of fucking shit, right? Because I am in serious trouble here. I am in serious trouble. And very, very fortunately, like this, I was in this town that I'd hitchhiked to, and I knew nobody. I was cold. It was wintertime, and I was like nowhere to stay, nothing. And this van went past, and this crazy hippie from Northern Ireland, who I'd met 3 months previously in a different part of New Zealand. He was like a real crazy hippie dude, and he was hanging out the window of the van. And he was just like, "Is that you, Brian?" I just made him Scottish for some reason, right? And I was like, I've never looked at. Did you ever look at food after being on like a fast or something? Like, that's how I looked at this man. I was like, just breathing inwards. I couldn't even say. I was like,
help! Give me
help! Yeah. So he hooked me up with cigarettes and with some cash and a place to stay for a few days until I got another job in that town. So I was like, yes, thank God.
Oh.
So I never ever again said that crap about having $20 in your pocket. You'd be okay, because it's complete lies.
Not $20. You need a deranged Irish hippie, apparently.
Yes, yeah, with a van and giant bags of marijuana.
Yeah. He's your saint.
What sort of work is available for Irish travelers in New Zealand?
Like forklift driving, working in like fruit packing sheds, harvesting grapes on the vineyards.
Sounds
That
amazing.
kind of stuff.
I'd do that.
Sounds amazing. Yeah, it's like, oh look, you don't get to look. There's a guy shouting at you, hurry up, move it, and you're like, you cut your fingers. I did enjoy working in the vineyards, right? But you do cut your fingers like so many times because you're grabbing bunches of grapes and then you got to fly really fast, and like with the secretary's thing, and you cut your fingers loads as you do it. But good money and but tough work and nice scenery though, you know.
I'm just imagining it more like in a romantic slow motion movie where she's just cutting a grape and sticking it in a thing, cutting a grape.
And there's an Irishman with an accent like this. Oh, you should come to see me in Ireland. We'll have sheep in the forests and da.
Go to the Aran Islands. Yep.
New Zealand is where I'm going once our civil war kicks off again.
It's
coming soon.
It's a beautiful place, New Zealand. It is I've been a lot of places, and I've been a lot of places. You know, I'm
bragging.
very, very poor, but I've been a lot of places. New Zealand is the most beautiful country I've ever seen.
Wow.
And I've been a lot of places. It's just so dramatic, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Everywhere, you know, you get so fatigued from. I've driven all over New Zealand, and you get so fatigued from beautiful scenery that I actually remember the day I was driving a van, and I parked it in a multi-story concrete car park in Auckland after driving for 3 weeks around the country, right? And I parked, and I remember just sitting there looking at the concrete wall, and I went, oh. It's like. I felt like maybe I've got some undiagnosed condition that's just sensory related, but I was just like, this is wonderful. This is just grey. This is beautiful to me right now.
Reset from the
you just get so overloaded from looking at like every turn you take, mountain, beach, sitting like, oh my God, I can't take much more of this. Like it's like constantly taking the same drug over and over again, like going, I need to slow down here. This is too much.
Yeah. Like too much sex with too many beautiful women. You just gotta stare at a blank wall for a second. That's relatable, right? That's a thing, guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That sounds like a tough life.
Yeah. I think about Hugh Hefner, you know, sometimes he has to go in his room and stare at the wall.
Is he still alive or is he dead?
No, he died a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Jesus, that man. What a crazy man.
Let's take a moment of silence.
There was a man who liked girls who like boys who like girls like their boys who like girls who like boys like their girls like their boys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God, one time
I always thought it was sort of fascinating with him the way he liked women who looked exactly the same. You're like he's got this chance to have like enjoy this whole wide variety, and it's just blondes.
Yeah, I think he wasn't so much a pervert as a guy who recognized the early onset of Alzheimer's. And he decided, I'm going to make them all look exactly the same and sound exactly the same, and I will have the most wonderful monogamous relationship to the end of my days without any confusion.
Yes, that's a good theory.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a paper on that. I'm gonna bring that to the aging organizations and stuff, and see if we can do something for old guys in nursing homes. Let's see if we can get them hooked up with like 27 blonde nurses.
What a beautiful charity, Brian. Look at you,
know what I mean?
Thinking.
Yeah. I'm at least 50% heart. You know.
Well, that's basically all the lyrics to this song, because it's just girls and boys and girls and liking girls and boys after that.
Yeah, I love the one thing about the song. I think that it's Dim and Albarn all over. Really, it's like this weird juxtaposition of the feeling you get listening to it and the lyrics. So like going down to Greece as the herd, and like everyone's having loads of sex and all that kind of stuff, and it's like British culture, and the song is even like a football chant, you know, like that you hear in the stadiums, like da 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 da, and you can hear everybody chanting it together, and like that's one side of it. But then the lyrics are like almost like, you know, an LGBTQI plus anthem, you know. So it's like that's a real juxtaposition of cultures in one thing. That I think the fact that LGBT people take that as somewhat of an anthem, and also Britpop and lad culture would be jumping up and down chanting that chorus as well, is like that's true genius in my mind anyway.
Yeah, this song can just be the anthem to so many different people at once. That's incredible. And they probably didn't think about that at all when they were writing it.
Oh no, they're probably off their head. You know what I mean? Didn't we write that bit already? No, I don't think so. Girls who like boys who like it. Do another one of those. Do another one. It's like the whole song is one verse. You know?
Right. I was reading here, I have some little fun facts that lead guitarist Graham Coxon said, "It's a disco beat with the lyrics about holidays and sex. It's a total laugh. We'd never been on Club 1830 holidays or any of those things. We're writing about characters that you see and you make up stories about them. There's not a lot of firsthand experience."
That's that's because Blur were posh middle class boys. You know, they wouldn't have survived those kind of holidays.
Yeah, they said that the lead singer was more of a family man. Like he preferred to be home with his family making bread and actually not living a crazy life.
I think they were hipsters before hipsters existed in a way. You know, they were like into their families and life and like experimental bread making and kind of craft ciders and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Did you see the guy who makes cheese now? What's his name? Hold on. Alex James has developed a second career as a cheesemaker. His 200-acre farm in, is it Kingham, Oxfordshire?
One of those.
Produces a range of cheeses, including a Stilton called Blue Monday, named after his favorite band, New Order. I'm like, I have to go get some Blue Monday cheese.
That's the kind of career change you can only make when you're like ridiculously wealthy, isn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Nobody ever turns. It's never a poor person never goes, I just want to be a cheesemaker. Never.
No. You can't.
It's always rich people. Yeah.
Did you see that they asked Tom York of Radiohead if there are any songs he wished he had ever written, and he said it was this one.
I find that hard to believe, though. Like, I mean, I'm like, I'm reading that going, did he write this as a completely satirical piss take as an answer? You know what I mean? Did he just say, I'm going to say this because Americans will believe it, and this will be discussed on podcasts.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see any follow-up as to why. It didn't make sense.
It makes no sense to me, but I read that as well, and I was like, okay, Tom, you lying bastard. Like, you know what I mean?
Calling your bluff, Tom.
Yeah, I wish I'd written like that.
I would love to hear Radiohead cover this song. And just reflect it with all of their artsy angst. Just wring all the joy out of it and leave nothing.
Just like if you sent everybody with depression to the same place in Greece, I think it would be like girls who don't want to talk to boys who don't want to talk to girls who don't want to talk to boys, like the girls who don't talk to girls like don't talk to boys.
We're all creeps. Yeah. I was trying to say, another fun fact is Albarn's daughter Missy was named after hip hop artist Missy Elliott. I bet she doesn't know that.
He probably had to make that up because he actually named her after Missy, like the border collie that they had, and he's like, I was like, maybe in hindsight, my child will be offended if I call them after
a dog.
Like a dog. Yeah. That's interesting, actually. That's interesting. Missy Elliott. His later music the later Blur stuff became more hip hop influenced anyway. So maybe that's kind of why he was into Missy Elliott.
Yeah, especially after he formed Gorillaz. That's definitely way more hip hop.
Yeah.
I love Gorillaz. I just thought that was so fantastic to never show yourself other than as a cartoon. And it was such good music, and the videos were so great.
They were brilliant. Yeah, I saw them live in Dublin. It's probably the best gig I've seen. I sound like one of those guys now, don't I? I was in New Zealand, best country ever. I was at this gig, best gig ever. You weren't there, you missed it. It was really, really, really good. Like they had Sean Ryder was there singing with them. Bobby Womack was there. It was pretty impressive. There was a lot of other people, like guest vocalists as well. But it was such like an extravaganza of audiovisual displays and guest singers and so many musicians on stage, and they're all like darkened out, so it's almost like you see an orchestra in the shadows. Yeah. So it was like the whole band, this huge band, is in the shadows, and the only thing you could see was like the Gorillaz videos in the background, and then occasionally you'd see like the guest singer would come out, the guest vocalist would come out, and they'd be lit up with a light. But it was such a great gig, yeah. But Damon Albarn's a genius. Like, I mean, anything he touches is genius. Is always good. He's never done anything bad, I don't think.
That's awesome. He's also cute. Can I just be the girl for a second? He's a cute boy.
he's a handsome man.
Yes.
He's a handsome man. Yeah, yes. To be fair. but he is very, 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 very intelligent man. Does a lot of good as well. Does a lot of stuff with the Malian musicians and Oxfam, the charity, which is. Don't know. Do you guys like world music? Any interest in like that kind of African music?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Malian stuff is pretty good if you've listened to any of it. But he's I think the album is called Mali Music. Yeah, it's
okay.
Like he works with all these different artists, some famous Malian artists. It's really really good.
Well, that's just awesome. I wanted to talk about the early Blur, like when they were still called Seymour, which apparently the managers didn't like that and was like, I won't do this for you unless you change your name. And so they gave them a list of names and they just like kind of randomly picked, okay, Blur, that's fine.
There was one or two crazy names on that list as well, wasn't there? I think I saw something about that list. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I think there was like, Blur was like the most reasonable one on the list. So maybe they wanted them to call themselves Blur and just decided, let's give them a really crap list and make them pick this word from it.
There you go.
Yeah, I read it somewhere, but there was some crazy names on that list, which would have been, you find it hard, don't you? If you, like a band gets famous or a person gets famous and you then hear about something they could have called it or could have called a song or could have been called as a band and you're like, that would never have worked, which makes no sense given that the music is exactly the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we went through that in our Creedence Clearwater Revival episode. They had a lot of weird names they could have been called. And it's like, that would have been so weird if they were anything but that.
Yeah. Like if Blur were called In Focus or something.
We would have went with it. But so their earlier albums, they were considered shoegaze. Not so much dream pop, but like shoegaze music. And then like I'm a big fan of that. And this is actually going to tie into next week's episode because we're going to do another shoegaze band. And so it's weird. Like they have like kind of parallel trajectories where they started off shoegaze, but then this big Brit pop thing exploded and Nirvana's happening in the States. And so everybody has to kind of change and rise up to this bigger level. No more just like slow, pretty music. You got to up it a little bit.
Yeah, I think like I know Blur had like a really unsuccessful tour in the US around that time as well, which pushed them more into Britishness and Brit poppiness than they were intending to go, I think, because they got homesick. They got homesick in the US and everybody was like all about grunge. Yeah. And like they were like, it was just really bad timing on their part, I think. Yeah. Well, bad luck, but a lot of bands would never have recovered from something that disastrous, so they were lucky in one respect.
Yeah.
That they got out of that, yeah. But Park Life, like that album is just, the whole album is great.
Yeah, what was the main song off of Park Life that hit first? Was it Boys and Girls or was it
it was Boys and Girls. Yeah, Boys and Girls went in at number 5 in the UK charts. Okay. It was their highest entry. I think their first album, one of the songs went in at number 8 or something, but I think that one went in at number 5. And then obviously Park Life was a huge hit as well. But the first one was Boys and Girls.
Okay.
Pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, pretty sure.
And song number 2 came later? Was that a different album?
That was a different album. I think that was the following album or the one after. There was Leisure, Modern Life is Rubbish, Park Life, Great Escape. I think it could have been Great Escape or the one after. I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But like their music progressed and changed through every album, really. I think they were not as strictly tied to the art of being a particular type of music. Like they kept slightly evolving, slightly changing all the way through until if you changed so much you had to invent gorillas.
Yeah.
It's like no one's going to buy this anymore under this brand. Let's create a new brand. He's actually an evil marketer, Tim Van Alburn. That's what he is. He's not a beautiful musician. He's an evil marketer who just creates brands. Yeah.
I like it. I love seeing a band take a path like that and to grow and change and not just try to play the exact same music their whole life.
Shining Path, that was the other name on that list that they were given of names, and I thought it was funny because Shining Path, it could have worked, but not in Peru where that was a terrorist organization.
Oh shit.
So you can imagine like kicking back in a coffee shop in Lima, just fresh in on your US passport. Hey, you like it here? Love it. Have you heard of Shining Path? Oh, there's wow. It's literally killing everyone. It's that good.
Oh God. Yeah, I'm a dumb American that wouldn't have known that.
I don't think anybody would have known that, to be fair, you know.
A Shining Path definitely sounds like a suicide cult. Like,
Doesn't it? Yeah, it's like
yeah.
the minute you hear it, you almost wish you could set up your own terrorist organization and the name hadn't been taken already. You know, like God.
That's the only
damn
reason
it.
I don't. All the good names are gone.
All the good names are gone. Yeah.
I'll just call mine Blur.
Oh dear, very good.
What else do I have on this? I don't know. Usually I have a bunch of fun facts, but I don't have too much more on that. What do you have, Ben? Do you see anything?
I was on the German line, and then I just realized like my own like sexual biases. Like when you think of like all the languages in Europe, I'd be like, why German? I would have started probably with Spanish, and then Italian, and then French.
On the romantic
Portuguese,
languages, yeah.
Probably. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a long way before I'd be hitting on the German girl.
Yeah.
I know that's.
There's something I don't know. There's something kind of sexually aggressive about German, though, isn't there? It's like, oof.
Yeah.
And you get that kind of a little shoulder shake, you know? Like the romantic languages make you kind of go, ooh, but the German makes you kind of go, oof, this is going to be,
like,
strap in.
He's going to take charge. There are people who need that too.
Yeah.
Give me some strict Russian sometimes. It's good.
I like German. It's interesting. The Diana Ross and the Supremes recorded albums in German. Did you ever hear their German stuff?
No.
Really?
Yeah, because Germany was a huge market, right? Still is a huge market. I mean, look at David Hasselhoff. Huge market, and all American bands at the time wanted to, similar to European bands now wanting to break America because it's a big market. American bands and groups were trying to break Germany as a huge market over here, so they recorded songs in German with the same tunes and everything. So Diana Ross and the Supremes have a load of music up. You can find it on YouTube. Like,
oh my God.
I think one of my favorites is Johnny und Joe. That was it's fantastic because it's in the exact same air, rhythm, tune, everything is the same, only it's in German. It's really funny. Yeah.
I know I'm going to spend the rest of my day now. That's amazing.
There you go. It's my musical tip for everybody. Listen to Diana Ross and Supremes in German. There we go.
God, that's incredible. Okay. If we don't have any more on that, we can move into our segments.
Let's go.
Okay, so I think right here, I don't know if you've seen Brian, but a previous guest is now a regular contributor to the podcast, and he does 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson.
Yeah,
so
seen it.
I think right now is where we can insert. I haven't read it this week, so right now we'll insert 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson with comedian Jeremy Essig.
Happy Thanksgiving, Barflies. Welcome to 6 Degrees, where this week we're going to try and connect Tommy Stinson to Britpop mainstays Blur. And while the replacements existed mostly in the 80s and Blur in the 90s, we actually need to bookend both of those decades and look back to the 70s, as well as forward to the 2000s, in order to make our connection. Following Blur, singer Damon Albarn went on to find even greater success with the trip-hop-infused animated band Gorillaz, a group whose concept proves there really is no such thing as a super dumb idea. Filling out the actual band that produced the music for the animated characters on 2010's Escape to Plastic Beach, Albarn enlisted former Clash members Mick Jones and Paul Simonon, who formed the Clash in 1976 with the legendary Joe Strummer and original drummer Terry Chimes. Chimes would leave the Clash following the recording of their debut album and go on to play with a variety of bands, including Billy Idol, Hanoi Rocks, and Black Sabbath, before becoming a chiropractor in the mid-90s. I just want to let that sit for a minute. The drummer who founded The Clash and would eventually play with Black Sabbath went on to become a chiropractor. But yeah, that story about your cousin who was going to play minor league baseball before he met his wife and became a realtor, that's super interesting too. Anyway, in his time in between The Clash and Sabbath, Chimes briefly drummed with the Heartbreakers. No, not the Tom Petty version you're probably thinking of, but rather the drug-addled punk supergroup that debuted a year before Petty's band and featured Johnny Thunders, Jerry Nolan, Richard Hell, and Walter Lurie. Walter Lurie's post-music career, as detailed in his great memoir To Hell and Back, was almost as strange as Chimes, as Lurie traded the dinge of CBGBs for the polish of Wall Street, becoming a successful stockbroker. And while his life became a bit more respectable, Lurie would continue to play music, occasionally performing Heartbreakers material with an all-star band that included members of Blondie, the MC5, and yep, Tommy Stinson. So this week we went from Blur to Gorillaz, all the way back to The Clash and the Heartbreakers to find Tommy Stinson passing chiropractors, junkies, stockbrokers, and punk legends along the way. I'm Jeremy Essig. Back to Dianne and Ben.
That's fantastic.
That Jeremy Essig, man. He's so good. All right.
He reminds me of Nietzsche.
He really is kind of a savant. I was calling him the music Rain Man. The way he can do this is incredible. So Brian, do you have any guilty pleasure songs?
Guilty pleasure songs. I do. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Bob Marley. Have been since I was a teenager. So I have all Bob Marley's albums, and I'm a huge fan. So that was like a gateway drug into reggae music for me, which is bad because Bob Marley was the king. So it's like taking the best drug and then taking all the dirty drugs as you try your way around to see is there anything else you might like in the drug world. You're like, oh God, this is not good. I'm on crack, and I thought it would be the same as heroin, and it's not, kind of thing. So by virtue of that, I've a lot of really bad reggae music as well. And there's a song. This is not necessarily a bad song if anybody's a fan of this guy, but there's a guy called Collie, Buddz. Did you ever hear Collie, Buddz?
No.
Collie,
I was
Buddz.
so scared you're gonna say no, informer. But go ahead.
Oh Jesus! No. Christ, I'm Irish. I'm not. Yeah, I'm white, but I'm not quite that white. You know. Collie Buddz was born in New Orleans, but grew up in the Bahamas or Bermuda, one of those insignificant Caribbean countries. And he was started off being like dance hall singer and stuff. So this is like a kind of a dance hall hip hoppy kind of song with like air horns in it. So it's like burp, burp, burp. It starts like that. How could it go wrong? You know what I mean? It's just like high energy, and it's all about weed basically. But It's such a fun, catchy beat and tune that if I need like energy to get up and go somewhere, I've got a big thing on, I would play that to really lift my like energy levels, to get my adrenaline up if I'm going somewhere for a big gig or something. Nice. And it's like Collie Bud comes around, blah blah blah, Jamaican accent, cut it by the pound. It's all about weed basically. But
what's the name of the song?
The Come Around.
Come Around. Okay.
And the guy is called Collie Buddz, Buddz. Obviously a clever play there on marijuana. Collie.
Clever. So funny.
those weed dealers and their puns. Unbelievable. So that's my guilty pleasure. I will put that on full volume if I need to get my my energy up for something.
Nice.
I would never want anybody to hear me singing along to it in a fake Jamaican accent.
That's perfect.
I believe that's racist now. You can't do that anymore.
I know. You can't have fun anymore.
You can't. Yeah, they banned everything. You can't even wear bed sheets over your head anymore. It's just... I'm Casper, the friendly ghost. Confusing me with my neighbor, Tom in the KKK. It's different guy, different vibe.
Just can't. Everything is blocked. Fun is over. Ben, I don't even ask you if you have one anymore, because Ben and I mean, this is episode 44. I was like, we can't have 100 guilty pleasure songs, but I did, and I don't remember if I ever did this one on the podcast, but RuPaul's Supermodel or Work or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Did I ever do that one?
I don't think you did, no.
I came on and I was like, yeah, this is a guilty pleasure for me.
Yeah.
I like RuPaul.
Yeah, if you do that laugh, it's definitely a guilty pleasure. Like, that's what I call the affair laugh, you know? The affair laugh. You going out with the guys tonight? Yes, I am.
That's awesome. Okay, so our dressed up like a douche this week comes from my friend Gretchen Dupre. So we all know Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza. That's a popular one. And then previously on this podcast, when we had the girls from Dumb Love podcast, Sally had a really funny one where hers was off. She thought he was saying, "Lay me darling, she's so blended." Makes no sense. I'm like, no one can get this song right. So my friend Gretchen, she said her ex-husband thought he was singing "Hold Me Closer, I'm tired of dancing," which is very sweet and tender compared to being held by Tony Danza.
Yeah. Well, you would expect. Yeah.
What is it with this song that no one can hear what he's saying?
Hold me close.
I guess Tiny Dancer doesn't really just make a lot of sense up front, but
Or
it makes
hold
me
me
laugh.
close and whisper in Esperanza.
I guess we could just make a drinking game out of this. Like, go around the table. How many different ways can you hear it? Until you get stumped.
That is drinking games. You guys love drinking games, don't you? In the States?
Absolutely.
When you're teenagers, especially, yeah.
Yeah.
What about
And
you guys? Don't do
adults.
that?
Some people do. Like when I was growing up, it wasn't really a huge thing. We were just more like, let's go drinking. Let's drink. Let's have some pints. Let's have some shots. Let's have a bit of fun. But like, I always found it kind of like an enforced fun. It's like, you're kind of you're at a party and somebody takes control of a party. Yeah. Everyone's having a good time chatting. And someone goes, okay, we're all going to do this together. And that, you're like, fuck off. You know what I mean? I'm trying to have some fun.
I'm trying to get laid.
I was having fun here. I don't need this enforced fun kind of regime that you're installing, you know?
Well,
tyrannical joy.
Yes.
I will say, from watching the Tri Channel, from watching you funny Irish people, I heard, and I think it's Shannon, it was like an Irish drinking chant. I don't know what you call it, but it stuck with me. But it was like, if you were going to chug a beer, it was, we like to drink with Mowbray because Mowbray is our mate. We like to drink with Mowbray because he gets it down in 8, 7,
6. Yeah.
So I taught that song to my toddler. And it's a drinking game we play in the pool. He has a big bucket of water and he pretends to drink it and he pours it out over the side. And he's like, we like to drink with Charlie. So.
It's fun to laugh at that now until he's like in rehab and you're picking him up going, how did you go this way? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe it's somebody else's fault. You know what I mean? That is funny. Yeah, we drink a lot on the Tri Channel sometimes, so it's it's interesting. We always get really drunk not really drunk, but like just it's so much alcohol in a short period of time for a shoot that you think you're fine and you kind of are fine until you leave, and then you have like, because you've had so much alcohol in a short period, you're like, I will go for 2 pints and then I'll go home, and you're like 2 drinks later, you're absolutely wasted.
I wonder about you guys driving home from those. I'm like, okay, Uber's there, right?
Yeah, we don't drive. No, you cannot drive here.
Yeah.
I know in America you can, if you can hold it together, it's legal. Kind of, that's the way it works.
They try. No.
Yeah.
No.
Like as long as you don't swerve. If you swerve, it's like, oh, or if you have a broken tail light, then they're like, okay, now walk around, and then if we think you're drunk, you might be drunk, and then everybody drinks and drives over there, don't they?
A lot more than we should. Yeah.
Like it's a huge taboo here. Nobody would even would ever admit to it.
Yeah, there you go.
No, would never. No, most people here would never do it, just because it's been instilled that it's like, we've had huge campaigns and TV campaigns and ad campaigns and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
God, yeah, we don't litter, but we drink and drive. We had huge campaigns not to litter, but that's it.
Except the streets are littered with children knocked over by drunk drivers.
Well, I wanted to ask you, out of all the Tri Channel things you've done, what sticks out as one of your favorite or one of the most fun ones?
Oh God, favorite fun ones. Any of the drinking ones, which means I can't remember. What did the Bob Ross painting one was kind of funny.
That one yet?
That was, I have no memory of the shoot. Like they made us drink a load of absinthe. They made us drink a lot of absinthe beforehand in a different shoot, and then the next shoot after that was like drunk people try and follow a Bob Ross tutorial.
Oh my God.
And I was hammered, and I don't remember any of the shoot. But it was me screaming at Bob Ross, going, "Oh, is that right, Bob? It's easy." I was watching this back, going, "Oh, that's rather aggressive, Brian.
Oh shit!
Maybe don't drink a lot of absinthe if you want to have a marriage, for example."
Wow.
It's just crazy. But any of those, like a lot of them are really fun to do, and it depends who you're with as well. Sometimes you bounce better off some people and that, because the channel is made up of like stand-up comedians do it, actors, singer-songwriters, and some quote unquote normal people. Lucky them.
Yeah.
Who are on it as well. So it's a fun mix, and the videos are usually fun, you know. So it's a nice addition for me to do because I'm a stand-up comic, and well, I was before COVID. Now I'm sitting.
Right.
Now I'm a sit-down Zoom guest.
Yes, you are.
On everything I do these days. It's just me going, yeah, I'm sedentary again. Hello. Yes, yeah, my granny's buried there. Yeah.
It's the same joke over and over.
Yeah.
It works.
No, it works. No, it's fun. The Try channel is very, very fun. A lot of American fans of the channel. So I'm looking forward to getting over there next year at some point, and trying to organize some gigs over there. Hopefully Florida and Texas, I think, is where a lot of people want to see me arrive. I say a lot, like 12.
Yeah.
12.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah. So I'm also looking forward to seeing what it's like in the US to do stand-up for US audiences, because we do a lot of gigs in Dublin here. There's a huge amount of clubs, and obviously I gig a lot for tourist audiences in the summertime and stuff like that. So that's really interesting, seeing different parts of the US and how different age groups react to different things.
Yeah.
And it's real interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what America's like to gig in.
I think he'll do well, don't you think, Ben?
Absolutely. I really do. I think Americans love the Irish. They absolutely, they dig the Irish twinkle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think you're fucking really funny. We think you're charming. I think you'll do really well.
Excellent. That's 2 tickets sold.
Yeah. Yeah.
$250 each, by the way. $250 each.
We know people at the secret group in Houston. We'll get you in there.
Yes. Yes. I'll be an illegal comedian immigrant.
I wanted to tell you that, it seemed like a year and a half ago, I sent some stuff to the Try channel. It was the camping.
Yes, did you send the MRE stuff? Yeah.
That's from our personal stash, because we get hurricanes here so much. So we have to have just in case food. And I've tried everything that you guys tried. And I was so glad that you guys agreed. Like, it's surprisingly good.
Yeah,
like,
it was incredibly weird. Yeah. I remember I was expecting to be like, this is crap. Preppers should all die. But it was actually surprisingly tasty, some of it, which means it must be incredibly bad for you.
It's gotta be.
It has to be. There were
full
just
sodium.
How much stock of that stuff do you have?
Okay, my husband went a little overboard, because every time we've had a hurricane, we've been able to get out, get safe, and have food. So we have. So
you don't need it. You don't need any of it.
We never eat it. No. It's really good if you're going to go camping. Like if you were going to, but it's also cheating. The part of camping is packing your good stuff and having a skillet over the fire and making real food,
Bring a barbecue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're planning on bringing the hurricane with you on the camping trip, I think you could,
Yeah.
They were surprisingly tasty. I'm going to say that much. I was amazed.
Yeah.
I was amazed. There was blueberries in something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like a granola, and it tasted like real milk and blueberries and granola. Yeah,
that was so strange. Yeah, I enjoyed that shoot actually. I was surprised. Yeah, I like eating free food. So, but it was weird. It was weird, but it was still okay. I wouldn't like to be. I think I'd rather die, to be honest with you, than survive. And I look in my shed and go, oh, thank God, 2 years of MREs. Oh man.
That lasagna is the bad one. That was not good.
And one side of your shed is 2 years of MREs, and the other side is a shotgun. I'd say I reckon you get 6 packets of granola and blueberry in before you're looking for a way out. Definitely. Definitely.
Well, Brian, I know it's a pandemic, but tell the listeners where they can see or hear more of you.
You can find me on social media, Twitter or Instagram. My handle is Brian Gallagher. That's Gallahad. Brian Gallagher. And I'm launching a couple of podcasts soon. But one is just the Brian Gallagher Show. That's going to be maybe early next year if anybody wants to check that out. And I've one coming out at the moment. I don't have a bloody working title for it, which is annoying because I keep changing it. Currently, it's called Self-Master B, but it's probably going to change. It's me and a life coach. So basically, it's a life coach versus couch life, and they're so full of wanting to save the planet with positivity, and I'm me. So there's that, and I actually surprisingly got quite a bit out of it in some respects for being a cynic. But it's a real fun fun podcast, like 30-minute episodes. So, but follow me on social media, Brian Gallagher, and when that comes live, I'll tweet that out and share it on Instagram, and hopefully people enjoy that as well. And don't forget, my favorite song is, if there's any bookers in Texas or Florida listening to this, or anywhere in the United States, please hook me up. Let's do something fun next year.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. This was really, really
Thank you both. It was fun.
Really was a delight. Thanks very much, Brian.
Thanks, guys.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
We'll see you soon, Brian.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna kick you out.
Take care.
And okay, that was great.
That guy's a moonbeam.
Oh
I
yeah.
really, really liked him.
Mm-hmm. That was really fun. I have to pee, so I'm going to get through this really quick. Next week, we welcome a very special guest next week. She's this really cool girl, and she's in this really cool dream pop shoegaze band from Austin, Texas called Blushing. Some of you know her because she is my best friend, Michelle Soto. I don't know why I said Soto. It's just Soto. Michelle is going to help us cover a song by another shoegazing band, really popular in the 90s, from across the pond as well, Lush. I don't know if everybody remembers Lush, but we will be covering the song Lady Killers. So, Ben, get to work on your Lady Killers research.
Yeah, I'll be ready for that.
It's going to be a good episode because it's very similar. They had a very similar trajectory as Blur, as they kind of started off shoegazy and then kind of had to jump in and compete with the Brit pop of Oasis and Blur. So, and I didn't even set it up this way. It just magically happened. So that's cool.
Well done. You're a programming genius.
All right. Special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music, and to Jeremy Essig for his 6 Degrees of Tommy Stinson, and to Sara Wessling for her Guilty Pleasures vocals. If you would like to support the podcast, you could go to patreon.com/rockthecashbar. With that, you could get early access to episodes. It's like $5 a month. You get voting rights on every other week song, and you get some cool swag and stuff. The biggest way you could support us, though, is just tell a friend. Like, also you could leave a review on Apple Podcasts, like push the little 5-star and then write a review. That really helps push us up the algorithm. So if you listen every week, that'd be really cool if you could just do that. A lot of you have, and thank you so much for that. Tell your friends, share the episode, and we have a website, rockthecashbarpodcast.com. You can see our Spotify playlist where we update with all the songs we cover, including Guilty Pleasure songs. Other than that, have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody. You gonna eat some turkey, Ben?
I am, absolutely. I'm making my 4th or 5th turkey. It's gonna be strange. I'm not good at it, but I can do it. It doesn't matter. There's no need to talk turkey.
Okay.
This was fun.
I
really like this episode. Let's have Brian back on as soon as we possibly can. I want her to be my new best friend.
Okay, let's do it.
Deal.
Vogue.